Hello to all of you wonderful moms out there. This is episode 62 of the Achieve Your Ambitious Mom Life podcast. Welcome back. So today's episode comes from a listener question, and it's all about sorting through large amounts of information. The listener asks,
I'm really curious about the software that you use and how you're able to process large amounts of data or information. I'd love to know if you have any tried and true methods around that, because it seemed like you were doing something like that, and I'd love to know more on how I could maybe utilize something like that.
Now I feel that there are two directions that this question could be coming from. It could be a question about how to deal with an influx of information, right? When there's a lot of information coming at you, how do you capture and store that information? Or it could also be coming from the angle of practical ways of taking notes, capturing and processing information that you want to take and then use. So taking notes and tools that aid that. So for that reason, I'm actually going to answer both of these questions. Next week, I'll talk about how to take and synthesize and make sense of large amounts of information. But today, I'm going to talk about the first point, which is how to create an information management system. How to capture that constant barrage of information, knowledge, advice that we get all the time in our daily lives. And then to have easy access to it whenever you need it. As a mom who manages information overload daily, I understand that struggle. Creating an effective information management system really changed my life. But before that, I was overwhelmed and scattered with notes all over the place, and I had digital files that were scattered on my computer as well. And then, of course, I was keeping some of that information in my head, so I had all this mental clutter as well. So if you're ready to start getting organized and clear and reclaim all that mental space for what truly matters in your life, then I want you to keep listening, because this one's a super practical episode that you can really start implementing today. Are you looking for a way to blend success and motherhood without losing sight of who you are? I get it. I've been there too. Hi, I'm Anoki, a PhD researcher, business owner, and homeschooling mom of 2 boys. As your life coach, I help moms like you create a life you love at home and at work. If you're ready to stop feeling overwhelmed, overscheduled, and overlooked, and want a clear roadmap to a balanced life, a meaningful career, and finally feeling like yourself again while being the awesome mama that you are, you're in the right place. In this journey to create the life you truly desire, it's time to rediscover your dreams and achieve your ambitious mom life. Hi, this is a quick reminder to sign up for the free Solve for Mom Insiders newsletter. This is where I continue to share deep insights on how to keep up with your personal ambitions and find some independence towards these new skills that you're trying to build. I let you in behind the scenes of how I'm doing this with my fledgling business and even in my own family, how I'm maintaining family time while I get to pursue my various goals and passion projects. It is jam-packed with personal growth tips, journal prompts, resources, and opportunities to interact. Very soon, when you sign up, you will be the first to know about some special offers. So if you love this podcast, you will not want to miss out on this newsletter, which shows up in your inbox only twice a month. So don't miss out. Check the link in the show notes below and sign up now. In today's information-rich world, moms really do face a big challenge. We're managing all of that overwhelming flood of data that comes from us in all directions. Now, there are, of course, traditional sources of information like books and podcasts and news articles and the TV and emails, but moms also juggle specialized information streams that go beyond those traditional resources. As moms, we're bombarded with information from places like our to-do lists and checklists that we create, school notices and letters, healthcare providers, and we might have several of them because we usually interact with all of our family members' healthcare providers. Myriads of texts and email threads that we have to synthesize and make sense of. And then, of course, the advice that comes from our friends and family. And usually it's us. We're solely responsible for tracking all of that family information. And part of the reason for that is because we take on so many complex roles. So each of those roles comes with their own stream of information. That constant barrage of information can really be overwhelming and problematic in our home lives. First, there's a diverse source of information that can make us feel so scattered because it's just coming at us from so many different directions. But then there's also the matter of the sheer quantity of information that can be distracting and overwhelming. So all of that can make it difficult for us to filter out what's important and to help us make confident decisions. We sometimes can end up with analysis paralysis. We have all the information that we need, but it's just so much information and we haven't fully processed it that we just don't even know what the first step should be. So the consequences of that information overload do have real implications in our lives. And what's especially frustrating is that while many of us moms do excel with managing lots of information in our professional lives, our home lives often can feel so chaotic because of this mix of different systems that we have. We've never taken the time to kind of centralize it all. We have our calendars, our digital files, text messages, Post-it notes thrown everywhere, and random links that are always sent to me that I just never know what to do with. Like, I need them, but I just don't have a place to put them. There is no central organization. There's no strategy to managing this information. And so that was me for a really long time. What we need in our mom lives is a way to capture all of that information that comes our way, whether it's for appointments and scheduling or new things that we've learned and we want to incorporate for our own self-improvement, ideas that we want to file away for a later time to really explore further and develop, or other administrative things that we do to manage our time, our finances, our homes. By creating an intentional information management system, you can stop drowning in such disparate pieces of information and be more put together and more productive. Just like we try to organize our homes, we also want to organize our information and put it away so that it doesn't feel so cluttered and it's readily accessible when we need it. Doing this, it's one way that you can reclaim that mental space again and start making confident decisions and get more balanced and flexible in your life. Now, you're probably already getting used to the fact that I talk to you about things that you probably won't find in a lot of other podcasts that are addressing moms. I'm really talking to you high-achieving moms that want to level up in your lives, that have big, important things that you want to do in the world or improve in your own lives. And I'm bringing all of these high-performance strategies from the scientific consulting world, incorporating critical thinking, and also knowledge work into our mom lives. I have done this for myself, and that is why I bring all of this insight to you guys as well. So you might be wondering, what is an information management system? Well, you actually might have already come across this at your work. Your organization may have an internal information management system, but I'm here to tell you that an information management system or an IMS isn't just for businesses. It really can be a game changer for busy moms as well. Just think of it as a structured framework that helps you collect, store, process, and then retrieve all that information that you're bombarded with on a daily basis. Now, there are so many benefits to having an information management system for any individual or organization, like at your work, but you can also consider your family as an organization. These benefits are going to be more pronounced for us ambitious moms because we're the type of women who voluntarily dive into big projects or that put more on our plates when we see the opportunity, when we think we can make that difference. Okay, so why should we have one? First, an IMS dramatically improves your productivity. Imagine no more hunting through text messages and emails and random sticky notes. Imagine you're cooking and your spices are interspersed all over the kitchen. They're just randomly placed. Rather than taking the time to organize them, perhaps on a spice rack. Well, we don't create these spice racks or these little trays where we put all our spices in one place just because that looks pretty. We do that because cooking in that type of a kitchen is much more efficient. You go to one place, you find the labeled spice container, and then you can use it. Well, we're doing the same thing. Your information management system is kind of like your spice rack for your information. Another benefit is that it enhances your communication with your family. Have you ever had a conversation, let's say with your husband, and then that conversation stalls because you couldn't quickly retrieve the information that you needed? Having an IMS is going to make sure that when you take the time to intentionally talk about something, that you can see that conversation to its endpoint because you have all the information you need accessible during the conversation. Now, another reason that you want an IMS is because it also helps you reduce errors. First, by preventing miscommunication, right? With the IMS, things are put in the correct spot. The information is labeled. Imagine a sticky note with a string of numbers on there and you haven't actually said what that is. You might misattribute what it's actually representing. And also an IMS reduces errors because you're making decisions with more accuracy, because you're not relying on what's conveniently in front of you or what you stored in your already overloaded memory. Instead, you can actually go into the file, folder, database, notebook, wherever you are keeping your IMS, and can reliably find all the related information on that topic easily and use it immediately. And a big one is that your IMS is going to save you precious resources, your time, your money, and it's going to help you make better choices with complete information at your fingertips. So I hope you're seeing now how an information management system can really be powerful for you in your life. So your information management system can really take on many different practical forms, depending on your specific needs and preferences. It could be as simple as a digital or paper notebook. It could be Post-its, though I wouldn't recommend that. It could be a structured planner that you use. You could even be using Word documents and spreadsheets or a comprehensive platform like Notion. What matters isn't necessarily the tool itself, but finding something that aligns with your lifestyle and helps you capture information reliably. You can customize it to completely fit how your mind works and what information you most frequently need to access. In your information capture, think about how you'll actually use it day to day. The ideal system should be accessible when you need it, simple enough that you'll consistently use it, and organized in a way that makes retrieving information intuitive for you. Many high-achieving moms find that a blended approach works best, and actually that's what I do. So I use a digital calendar that houses all of my appointments and events, and even some reminders when they have to happen on certain days. I have a comprehensive tool like Notion for knowledge management and project planning. So a lot of my personal growth and strategic planning for my business as well is happening in there. And then I have a simple notepad app that I use on my phone that I capture very quick thoughts, especially when I'm on the go. And I have a system to transfer all of that stuff in its appropriate place later. So remember what the purpose of your system is, and that'll guide how or what form your information management system will come in. For me, it's creating a system that reduces my mental clutter. It gives me confidence that the important information I need is safely stored somewhere that I can find when I really need it. So guys, I know that decision fatigue is a common experience in ambitious moms. So if you're still using to-do lists instead of a proper system, despite having access to them, well, I can help. My Balanced Mom Coaching Program is designed specifically for high-achieving moms who want to envision, take action, and achieve their big goals. If you want to transform your overwhelm and chaos and become more organized and have clarity on all of these big ideas that you have, then consider booking a free exploratory call today. You can use the link in the show notes so that you can discover how you can finally feel accomplished again while prioritizing your family. In fact, my goal is to make it so that you can start enjoying your family time even more. All right, so there are going to be 5 steps I'm going to lead you through to create your information management system. So let's start by taking inventory of all the types of information that you're flooded with in your mom life. Think about the nature of the content and the format it comes in. So here's some examples that you might come across. You could be juggling administrative information like emergency contacts, schedules, and passwords. There might be cultural information as well, right? That you want to include, like your family values and your traditions, and things that we often also have in our life plan. And then there might be personal growth content, things that you come across and don't want to forget. You want to learn from these things, from books, podcasts, and things that you consume. So take some time to identify your specific information categories. This awareness alone, guys, is going to help you feel more in control of the data deluge that you're managing. Step 2 is to create a consistent capture system. The key to managing all of this information is having a reliable way to capture the quantity and variety of information that you listed in step 1. So once you figure out your capture system, then go back to your list in step 1 and cross-check that that system you're thinking of is going to be able to record all of those types of information. And when I talk about a central place, it doesn't actually mean that everything has to live in exactly one spot. I already told you that I use 3 different capture systems. But what's important is the consistency in your approach, and the goal is accuracy, right? Especially when you're transposing information like appointment details, let's say from an email into your calendar. It's also a system that's allowing you to organize your information, but you want to be able to do that without losing important context. So by organized, I mean that it's in a sensible location. You have a system of how you're filing that information. Let's say you're pulling some information out of a text thread. Well, if you're isolating, let's say, an address, you want to make sure that the context of that information isn't removed when you don't have the rest of the text chain with that information. Now, I mentioned I personally use a 3-part system. My Apple Calendar houses all of the events and appointments, and I use different calendars that are color-coded for different categories in my life. I also use Notion, and that really serves as my knowledge base and my project management system. And then my Notepads app on my phone is what I call a scatterbook for me to quickly capture notes throughout the day, especially when I'm on the go. And then in the evening, I actually transfer all of those quick notes to their proper place. My suggestion is to just find what works best for your lifestyle. And then the third step is that your information needs to have a secure home until you need it again, a storage system. So that means protecting sensitive data like passwords and medical details, and not just from strangers, of course that's important, but also from, the curious little hands and eyes of your children as well. And you want to consider the level of security for each different type of information. Now, for digital systems, you can regular backup essential information. Right, we've all experienced that moment of panic when an important file disappears all of a sudden. But that doesn't just apply to digital information. So I actually remember when someone close to me was using a very special planner as her central information hub, and she wrote everything in there. She also loved those erasable pens. And by the way, my kids love those too. They are such fun colors. But anyway, what she found out later was that the notes that she had very carefully and painstakingly taken the time to make over long periods of time when she would go back to refer to them would actually be faded or sometimes even disappear, especially when she was exposed to changes in humidity. So you just want to be careful that once you have the information, it's secure. It's not going to get lost, it's not going to disappear, or it's not going to be seen by people that aren't supposed to see it. The fourth step is to have an easy retrieval process, because the whole point of capturing information is being able to access it later when you need it. Your system should make retrieval painless, and that means organizing information logically, making it searchable, and ensuring that you can access it repeatedly over time. So think about how that future version of you is going to look at that information when you need it the most, right? You don't want to be frustrated and be like, what is this telephone number? Whose is it? And the fifth and last step is really simple. You just want to have a routine for maintaining your information management system. Even the best information systems need regular maintenance. So set aside time, perhaps annually, to review what's stored or archive what you want to keep and don't need immediately accessible anymore. Delete what's no longer relevant. Even my nightly routine to take my notes that I've taken on the go and to transfer them into the system is a kind of maintenance routine. This type of routine really keeps your system running efficiently. Okay, I'm almost done, but I want to take a minute to talk about some powerful features that would be nice to include and consider in your information management system. These are going to make your system much more useful to use. The first tip is to use templates wherever possible. So some examples are templates for appointments or task cards in my workflow, or templates that I use even to create content like my LinkedIn posts. The next step is to take advantage of synchronizing across tools. So this could be across devices, using the cloud, or even across workspaces, like adding hyperlinks in your documents. Or in Notion, I like that I can make all the pages relational, so that I can see when one page is referring another page, or when I make changes to one page, it automatically updates that information in all of the other pages. The third tip is to utilize searchability options. Now, usually most digital tools have some sort of search capability. You can use Control Find, or there's a search bar, or even some AI-powered searches. Another tip is to take advantage of dictation tools where you can convert audio information into written information. So that would be applicable to things like voice memos and podcasts and things. Okay, and then another tip is to maybe take advantage of some AI capabilities that might be offered with your tool. That can be helpful, but I am aware that everyone has their own comfort level with AI. In fact, for me, I'm very protective of my privacy and data, so I really prefer to use AI in closed environments. I don't use ChatGPT all that much. So when I do use AI-powered tools, it's really in my own private accounts, like in my Notion database, where my information is not being shared out, and things that I'm searching or having AI speed up the process for really pulls information just from my own personal work and information environment. And the last tip I'll give you is probably not something that you're going to want to use right away, especially when you're in the phase of setting up your information management system. But you might want to think ahead, especially about the purpose of your information management system, because depending on the type of system you develop, you may then be able to go on and do more advanced things, like start making connections between your ideas and building frameworks for a deeper understanding. So as I wrap up today's episode on creating an information management system that's really targeted for high-achieving moms, I hope that you're feeling empowered to tackle that information overload that you've been experiencing day to day. I think you deserve to reclaim all of that mental space and start having your days flow a little more smoothly. So let's recap the 5 key steps to building your personal information management system. Step 1 is to inventory the type of information that you have to deal with on a daily basis. Step 2 is to find a way to consistently capture all of that information. Step 3 is to make sure that information is secure and accessible. Step 4 is to find a way to easily retrieve that information when you need it. And step 5 is to have a routine to maintain your system. So this week, I challenge you to start building your own information management system. Begin with just one category of information that's currently causing you to stress out. That could be your inbox and your emails, for example. And then apply these steps and notice how quickly you're going to begin to feel more in control and less scattered. So remember that your information system is supposed to work for you, right? So start simple and then evolve it as you go. Figure out what's working for you and really lean into those things. So go off and organize those brilliant thoughts of yours. Your ambitious mom life is waiting for you on the other side of all of that information chaos. I hope today's episode will help you create time and freedom to pursue something you love to do. If you enjoy the show, please subscribe and tell other purpose-driven mamas about it. Who knows? You might even make a new friend by sharing a tip. It's all free. By the way, it would be amazing to hear what you think about the show when you leave a review on Apple Podcasts. After all, my passion is to make this a great experience for you. I'll see you next week for another episode of Achieve Your Ambitious Mom Life with Anoki Kapasi.